First of all, I want to start off this show by making a dedication. You know, when we were teenagers, there were times the two of us couldn't stand each other, and we were typical teenage brother and sister. But as we got older, we came to understand each other more, and we became each other's pretty good confidants. And you know what? I still consider her pretty much the best confidant anybody could have, because no one has really understood me more than her. And today, she has a milestone birthday. So I'm dedicating this show to my big sister, Melissa. She celebrates her 50th birthday today. Happy birthday, sis, and many more. Now, I will talk about the day also being Valentine's Day. Because we'll tell you, Valentine's Day is always when couples want to do the romantic thing, you know. Have a nice dinner, have a nice candlelight thing, have candy, have roses. Of course, now I see this with some restaurants. Honey, where would you like to go for Valentine's Day? Oh, let's go to McDonald's. What? Yeah, that's what I have to say about what I see with some McDonald's and some Burger King restaurants doing. Hey, they want to bring a Valentine's experience to you. Who'd have thought of going to McDonald's or to Burger King or maybe to Wendy's or to Arby's for Valentine's Day? I mean, that may be the best way sometimes to get punched right in the face, is to tell your date, hey, let's go to these places for Valentine's Day. Of course, I can understand a little bit too, because you know, the dinner, the wine, the candlelight, the candy, the flowers, it can get pretty expensive. Well, of course, wouldn't you like to treat your love like a queen on Valentine's Day? Show how much you love her? Yeah, it can get pretty expensive, but of course, well, I'm one of those who's like the fabulous Thunderbirds. How do you spell love? M-O-N-E-Y. Well, I could get punched in the face for saying that, but I mean, sometimes you don't know what people are going to say. Hey, it's a good idea. Or hey, you could be dumped the next day for taking your love to Burger King or to McDonald's. Oh, but the thing is, to each its own, whatever. And I'm going to go from Valentine's Day to talking about the Grammys. That was a very interesting show on Sunday night. Pretty political with some of them too. But I do have to give big kudos to Adele. That English chanteuse won 5 Grammys. Even maybe accidentally, or as they say, purposely breaking one because she wanted to share it with Beyonce. Of course, who knew Beyonce was gonna dress like King Tut? Yeah, she's expecting twins. But I mean, her dress. It almost seemed like she was channeling King Tut with her dress. I half expected Steve Martin to come out and say, King Tut. Born in Arizona, King Tut. But I mean, he wasn't born in Arizona, raised in Babylonia. But I mean, she's not King Tut. She's Beyonce. But of course, Adele showed I mean, that she wanted to do things right. Yeah, she was chosen when they did the dedication for George Michael, one of the good ones who he lost this past year. Yeah, she cut it off saying, I'm sorry for swearing, I want to do this right by him. Well, you know, kudos to her. Of all the artists that are around today, she's the one who's impressed me most, because she's shown that, hey, you don't have to be a stick figure to be a great singer. And I mean, she has got a pretty darn good voice, if you ask me. But also, kudos to what, damn, I forgot the artist. But I mean, he did a great dedication to Prince. But I mean, he even had the hairdo, he even had the purple suit, he even had the guitar. That was a pretty darn good dedication to Prince. And I mean, that day he passed away. But they even mentioned good old Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau was a pretty darn good singer in his own right. maybe, he did jazz. And jazz isn't one of the ones that I that I'm not a big fan of, but I will say I do listen to jazz sometimes. But Al Jarreau was a pretty good jazz artist. He passed away on Sunday too. But all in all, that was a pretty decent Grammys. But it was pretty political. Did we really have to see Katy Perry raise up that Constitution there at the end of her performance? Or did we really have to hear those rappers who decided to call President Trump's administration the Agent Orange, comparing President Trump to the chemical that in Vietnam was a big source of all the problems for servicemen who served over there in those jungles? And years later, still are affecting Vietnam servicemen. Did we really need to hear that? Of course, as I said, with the Valentine, to each his own. And also, Westminster is occurring this week, the annual dog show. But for the first time in, it seems as though 30 or 40 years, it is not being broadcast live. I always look forward to tuning in on USA or Fox Network or whatever, or USA or whatever was broadcast in the Westminster, and seeing who the best dogs were in the United States. And of course, 3 new breeds are being introduced this year. I think 2 from France, 1 from either China or from Mexico. But of course, they're being shown on tape delay this year. What's with that? It just seems as though that, hey, no one wants to spend 2-3 hours seeing the best dogs. Hey, that always has been a popular show, and even I wanted to see who the best dogs were. 'Cause, hey, I wanted to see really how the best German Shepherd looked. Or, maybe the ladies want to see how they primp up Yorkshire Terriers or Poodles. Of course, how they primp up the Poodles for the Westminster dog show is beyond me. What's with the haircut there and that? I always pictured Poodles with a full coat. But oh well, as I say, to each his own. Of course, from what I heard, there already was an upset. The Pulley was the favorite in the herding group, and also, maybe the favorite to take best in show. But he was defeated by the German Shepherd in that group. Of course, Pulley's like its cousin, the Commodore. You kind of wonder if a mop suddenly grew legs, or suddenly grew a snout, grew the eyes. And of course, when you see the little tongue hanging out from that mop, you kind of wonder, did the Sorcerer's Apprentice come along? Of course, don't start what you can't finish. That's the thing I have to say to the Syracuse basketball team. They were so hot for a while. Now all of a sudden it seems as though they're taking the trip to Pasadena. They had finally gotten themselves back into position to make a run, maybe to make the NCAA tournament. But now they've dropped to Pittsburgh, a bad loss. And of course last night they took Rick Pitino and the Cardinals into overtime before falling. It seems as though, hey, we're back NIT bound. Maybe that's what we ought to wish for. And we got games left, 2 against Georgia Tech, 1 against Duke, and 1 more against Louisville down in Louisville's home arena before the ACC tournament. It's what happens in these last couple of weeks that is going to determine their destination for March. Are we NCAA bound or are we NIT bound? Make up your mind, Cuse. And that's all the time I have left for this week. And like I said, hats off to my sister. And yeah, I forgot to comb my hair. Oh well.